Thanks for joining me today. For this one, we're working on Inktober yet again. We are on day 4 and working on the prompt underwater, also known as let's cram all of Char's favorite animals into one illustration. I thought it'd be funny if I could toss all of my favorite animals together in this piece, and some of those animals include a Arabian horse, of course, cheetah, golden eagle, a saluki flailing in the background, and orca whales, because orcas are awesome. If I could go back and adjust anything, I think I'd make the main character a little bit bigger, just a little bit small on the horse there on Aspa. But overall, I really like this piece. I really like Ryoxia's expression and Key's expression there in the back, flailing. I don't know if Salukis are particularly great swimmers. I just kind of expect that they probably aren't very great swimmers compared to something like a Labrador. So that just amused me. There has been so much stuff that has been going on this week. It's hard to even try to contain it all into coherent thoughts and coherent speech. So probably the most exciting art relevant thing that's been going on is the fact that the first Patreon goal on my Patreon has been met. So I'm so excited about that. As soon as I'm done recording this, I'm going to go run off and record the video, the celebration video on that one, which is, I said I was going to go and pop 100 poppets, which if you don't know what poppets are, they're those little tiny things that you smash on the ground and it makes a little popping sound. So I'm going to try to pop 100 poppets all at the same time. I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see. So maybe I can kind of tie that in with the underwater theme, as well as last week where I kind of tied in the Inktober prompt with the video and what we talked about there. So I have definitely been feeling like I've been underwater, or at least treading water, for a very long time, both in the art world as a whole, with this particular project specifically, and just kind of not really making a lot of progress, certainly not the progress that I've been hoping for. I'm working on that like I always am, and there are a few things kind of holding me back. For one, last year I couldn't really even figure out what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to take a break from so many commissions, transitioning from a commission-based business to more of a, I don't know what it's called exactly, I suppose fine art, but it's not fine art that I'm doing. Basically just a creator-owned business where I create stuff and then people just take it or leave it. So I knew in doing that there was a bunch of different models that I saw that were successful. I saw many YouTube artists who were successful at it. I could name like 20, but I'll link them in the description just to show you like some good examples of people who I feel are really successful. Just the top of my head, a couple Happy D artists, super awesome. Frenerd, super awesome. Danica Sills, super awesome. Just so many people that I look up to, that I admire, that I see their work ethic, their continuation of building their YouTube, the way they run their Patreons, just everything. I just really see how successful they are, and to me that's really inspiring. I know there's a lot of kind of thought and talk about seeing people who have the success, the level of success that you want, and being discouraged by that. I'm kind of the opposite. I see someone making it and I'm like, oh, it is possible because they're doing it. So for me, it's encouraging to see people succeed, because then it shows me that it is possible, that it's not just some far off goal that no one can achieve. It's absolutely achievable. The question then is, how do I get there? Like, that's been kind of the question I've been asking myself for the past decade, it feels like. I never begrudge anyone's success, but at the same time, I want success too. Like, there's enough to go around that more than one person on the planet can be successful. And to me, that's been kind of frustrating because I've seen people who were at the very beginning, just like I was, studying and drawing and figuring things out, and they've like shot up and gotten elevated into their place in the art world, and I'm still feeling like I'm at the bottom. And that's just been really frustrating to deal with for such a long time. I know everybody's like, oh, you got to put in your, your dues, and you got to do those 10,000 hours, and overnight success took 10 years and all that kind of stuff. And I'm about there on all of those marks. I am definitely there, moving into like the 20,000 hours mark, 10 years for sure. Just kind of struggling, really. So it's one thing to dwell on that and to be frustrated by it, but it's another to actually do something about it, because yeah, it can be really frustrating. Yeah, it's easy to feel like you're just drowning and you want to give up. There's definitely been times where I've been there, that I thought all I'm good at is this art thing and I can't even do that. And it's so frustrating to kind of be in a weird position where you're the only one who seems to believe in yourself. There's a huge amount of imposter syndrome going around in the art community. And of all the problems that I've had with trying to grow my art and my career and all that kind of stuff, that's not been one of them, fortunately, thankfully. I feel that the imposter syndrome directly tied into self-esteem. Absolutely. I have no question about that. I've never met somebody who says that they suffer from imposter syndrome and also say they have high self-confidence. It's not something I've seen. Honestly, I don't think imposter syndrome has anything to do with art. I think art is like the side effect of it. The fact that you're questioning it and wondering whether you're good enough, or wondering whether you deserve this success or whatever. I totally feel like that is based on your level of self-worth and questioning your self-worth without realizing it. Like you're focusing on this art thing, but really it's about you. And for me, I feel like I did all that as a teenager. I did all that questioning my self-worth and not valuing myself and being afraid of, crowds and people and social situations. I did all that as a person in their teens and early 20s. And I'm at the point now where I love just about everything I do art-wise. It's not to say that I can't find improvement in it. I feel like those are not two mutually exclusive things. I don't feel like you can either hate your art and find flaws with it, or love it and find that it's perfect. I think you can absolutely combine those two. You can love what you did and then also still see the flaws in it and want to improve it. I mean, I do that with my favorite TV shows all the time. I find flaws and things that could be improved in it. Doesn't mean that I don't love it still. It just means that, hey, it could be even better. I think that's a good thing. I think that constantly evaluating your level and how you could improve and trying to learn and do things better, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think we have a very much a all or nothing kind of idea going around. It's not new, but it's definitely very pervasive. So you can either think your art is garbage and hate it and feel bad about it and feel like you don't deserve the success that you might have, or you love it and you're oblivious to any of its flaws and you just think it's so great and you can't imagine ever having improved because you're already at the top. So I just feel like that those are the two things that people really think of when they view their own art, and apparently there's no room for anything in the middle, which is just a little silly to me. So what are the kind of things that you can do to help improve your situation? For me, consistency is probably one of the things that I've lacked the most, and apparently that's one of the tips that everybody says helps improve your career the most. I think for me, it was hard because I didn't find anything that I really had a passion for. I was working on commissions, and even though I might have liked the commissions, I don't feel like I could have said that I was passionate about them. They were just things that I was good at that I liked doing, but whenever it came time to, okay, well, I'm not getting paid for this image, let's just draw and see what I come up with, and it wasn't ever the things I was doing for commissions. So it's taken me a really long time, unfortunately, to figure out the project that really inspires me. I've had ideas for projects. I've had things that I thought I would be really interested in, but as I've said before in another video, I just didn't really have any kind of cohesion. It was just a random project, a random creatures all assembled together just because they all happen to be Pegasus or Griffins or whatever, but there was no story behind it. And I've been told for years that I need to focus on the story of things, and it's been hard because I didn't feel like I had a story to tell. And I've been doing a lot of thinking in this past year, and a lot of thinking about a lot of topics that I don't know that I'll get around to talking about in YouTube, but I feel like I do have a story to tell. I can tell my story in a way that I find interesting, and also just kind of having a little fun with it. So now that I've kind of found this passion, how can I kind of make it into a whole entire project? How can I grow my business now that I've found the thing that I'm now finally realizing I'm really passionate about? Well, I've been trying to do these videos every week now, and that's been very slow going, but you know what? I am very impatient, and I feel like that I need to work on that. And I shouldn't probably lose my patience because I've put out 4 videos and they don't have the views or whatever that I'm looking for, and I'm only doing 1 video a week. So I just need to give it 6 months, a year, to see how I can develop it and work towards the goals that I want. I think that's been a problem in the past for me, is that I didn't have a project that I was super passionate about. I would jump ship really easily. I had no problem starting projects. I was very good at starting projects. I could start a project like nobody's business, get it all the way out to a finished state, and then I would sit there a month or 2 or 3, what I felt like was a while. I would try to promote it and nothing was happening, and then I wasn't getting any traction, and I was just like, you know what, this isn't successful. Screw it, I'll move on. So I did, and I did that with project after project after project. I went and bought the domain name. I did art for it. I did all this stuff. I completely realized so many projects. And I just didn't ever give them the time because I wasn't super passionate about those projects. What I was passionate about was it succeeding. And when it wasn't met with enormous success right out the gate, I just would get fed up and I'd get tired and I would be like, oh, well, then I guess screw this, moving on. So I feel like I need to work on that. But I don't feel like I need to work on that as much right now because I did finally find a project I am passionate about. And because of that, I almost don't care anymore about whether or not it's super successful. I just want to get the story out and share it with people, and hopefully people like it, but if not, I know at least I really like it and I'm not gonna get sick of it anytime soon. So I feel like that's probably the best strategy for me right now, is just to focus on getting the story out as I see it. And for a long time, even though I've been really passionate about this story, I've been really cautious based on a few different factors. I've just been worried that, oh, people won't like it. Oh, there's this or that issue that could be brought up because I'm doing this. And maybe that's the case, but I can only tell my story and I can only do it in the way that I feel works for me. And unfortunately, that is just the way it is. And I just gotta be comfortable with that in as much ways as I can combat the possible issues I'll see in the future. I'll just have to try to do my best. And I think that's all any of us can do, is just trying our best and making it work as much as we can. So I don't know if I really did a lot to make this a cohesive topic, but I did talk for a little while, so there is that. If you are interested in hearing me ramble some more, feel free to subscribe. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up for me, and that will help other people find me on YouTube, or so I hear. I don't really know how any of that works. If you're interested in helping me get to the next goal, where I'm planning on lighting something cool on fire, and we'll see what happens there. I have some time to think about it, unless like my goal is reached tomorrow, then I won't have any time to think about it, but that'll happen. That'll be the next goal. You can check that out at patreon.com/chartread. If you want to see more of my art, probably Patreon's the best bet, because I've been updating there more than anywhere else. I've been really bad about my Instagram lately. But if you do want to check it out, you can look up at @chartread art on pretty much all the social media platforms, and I'll be there. So thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it if you did stick around for this whole entire mess of a video. And I hope to see you for the next one. Bye.